In year 2 of the pandemic, a year that for many promised a more hopeful outlook, the Legal Aid Society doubled down on our mission to deliver justice to every New Yorker. COVID-19 struck the hardest blow against communities already trapped in a cycle of discrimination and disadvantage. And with their needs in sharper focus, the crisis became a catalyst for our most determined efforts. We litigated, protested, and advocated. We negotiated with politicians and made sure we were always in the room where we could influence policy and push reform. But the rooms where the most critical work continues are the smaller spaces, where fewer cameras are flashing and no one's listening for a triumphant soundbite. Our mission finds its truest expression in the courtrooms, the social workers' offices, detention centers, homeless shelters, and the living rooms of the people we represent. It's in these spaces, between the headlines and beyond the big wins, where the beating heart of legal aid connects the policy to the people.
To me, winning is sort of besides the point. I look at it as that everybody, and certainly somebody like Ms. Davis, deserves the best counsel that they can get.
I used to do things like sweep up the leaves, shovel snow. I do things to keep it up because I want to live in a place that's nice.
She's been in the community for a very long time and is an excellent tenant in every respect.
I just feel so safe there.
She lives in a smaller building. She's lived there for a very long time. And under current law, the landlord is allowed to end her tenancy with no reason at all.
For 7 years, I was going back and forth with Con Edison. The Con Edison bill got to like $3,000 because I was like, I'm not paying it because this is not my bill. Finally, they sent someone out, and sure enough, the meter was a shared meter. And the tenant in the back, he was using a heater.
Ms. Davis rightfully complained that the landlord was stealing electricity and billing it to her account. But that did not sit well with the landlord.
Maybe about a month after that, then she sent me like a 30-day notice. The idea of leaving is scary because you know what you have, but you don't know what you'll get. What
her goal was to get time to find another place. It's a whole challenge in New York City to find an apartment. As of early March, the first week of March in 2020, we'd extended the amount of time that she'd gotten to stay there, but we came to the end of the line.
And I remember leaving the courtroom and the keep was so sad. And he was like, Miss Davis, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, well, what are you sorry for? I said, you're sorry when you've done something wrong. I said, you've done nothing wrong. You've done everything that you should have done and more. I said, no, I appreciate you.
So she was telling me I shouldn't feel bad, which is the kind of person that she is. And then, of course, a couple of weeks later, she turned out to be right. Because of the onset of the pandemic and the pandemic arriving in New York City, there were a series of eviction moratoriums, and those eviction moratoria have allowed her to stay in possession of the apartment.
Working with him has just really been amazing.
The thing that always motivates me in this work that I do are the clients. Getting to know people, the kind of resilience and the spirit that people have. I don't expect anything from the clients. Like, I work for the clients, they don't work for me, but I'll just say about Ms. Davis, she's been, she's been so encouraging, she's really helped me.
I'm gonna start looking again diligently like I was before. So I just pray that, things are different now. And anyone that I know that's having housing issues, I tell them, I say, call the Legal Aid Society.
So I wanted to join the military because of my cousin. He was in the Marine Corps, and once I saw him come from basic training, I looked up to him. There's nothing else better than serving your country.
If you talk to David, you see that he is not only just an upstanding citizen, he is who the armed forces should want as a member of their ranks. This is a young person who made a sudden decision, which most young people do, being undeveloped, and because of that, now his whole life path is off on a wrong turn.
I already felt helpless, like I'm never gonna join the military because of this record.
Unfortunately, for members of communities that are over-policed, communities of color, communities of low income who live in public housing, the police are always there, and their reactions might be different to a situation than had my mom called the police to teach me a lesson.
I wasn't surprised that it was gonna come up, but it was a surprise that it took so long for me to enlist because it was just a misdemeanor.
There's a common misconception that because juvenile delinquency cases happen in family court, they're automatically confidential, they're covered. Unfortunately, that is a misconception. We found through our work and set the record straight that law enforcement and the armed forces through the federal government are gaining access to these records, so that prohibits young people from being able to live up to their full potential just because of a mistake they make as an adolescent.
So I actually went down to the courthouse because they said to look out for my deposition letter, and it actually said that my case was still open. So I was concerned, I'm like, why is my case still open?
And he actually saw a card for Set the Record Straight on the desk at the clerk's office in the courthouse. He was very determined to get this figured out.
I thought it was gonna be like, all right, I'll look into your case, and just like everybody says, I'll look into your case, don't worry about it, and then never get a phone call back. But she actually took a hand of it and went through the case.
He knew that he was not the product of that one decision that he made.
I'm trying to get into John Jay Academy and hopefully get a bachelor's in criminal justice and a minor in forensic psychology, join the NYPD. I feel like it can make change from the inside, and it can be something better, you know, work with the community, not against the community.
And David is now enlisted in the National Guard.
I'm actually excited because I'm being deployed, so I'm looking forward to my deployment.
It's just really cool to see that even though there might be stopgaps in knowledge or understanding of what one person's rights may be, Legal Aid is always here to pick you up when you need the services.
Last time I was here, they put me on a bus and they took me away. And in my head, I'm saying, they about to send me to jail for the rest of my life. I might not never, ever come home again. And the bad part of it is, this is all for nothing.
James Davis should have never even been brought to trial.
I was studying my case from the very beginning, and there was so much stuff that was wrong with my case.
He was arrested for murder in 2004. He went to trial for murder and criminal possession of a weapon in 2005. However, that trial resulted in a hung jury with 11 jurors voting to acquit and only one juror voting guilty.
When they gave me the court-appointed lawyer and I met him, he didn't know my name at first. This is gonna be hard.
The next trial took place about 6 months later in 2006. He lost that trial. He was convicted of murder.
There's no way you're gonna get out of this situation if you ain't got no money. I ain't got no money, I'm poor.
In the late summer of 2007, I was assigned to James Davis's murder trial as the appeals attorney. I'd spoken to James on the phone for probably more than a year before I actually met him, and the idea that this young guy could lose 18 years of his life in prison was just horrible.
I think she made me feel the most comfortable when I ain't have nobody else, when I was really trying to fight my case and learn about it, because everything I asked her for, she either looked into it or helped me out with it.
In September of 2018, after being completely frustrated by the DA's delays, we filed a 440-10 motion to vacate the conviction on the grounds of actual innocence, ineffective assistance of trial counsel, and newly discovered evidence.
She said, we're gonna get you home. I see that we got a shot. We're gonna fight and we're not gonna stop fighting.
And at that point, I knew I needed a really good trial attorney to come in and run the hearing.
I was brought in to run the wrongful conviction unit within the Legal Aid Society. James Davis was convicted based on a lie. I was angry at the indifference to this human being because Susan was assigned this case in 2008, and this was 2020. What they found was that his attorney was ineffective because he never spoke to any of the witnesses, so they vacated the murder conviction and a new trial was ordered. One of the supervisors in appeals called me and said, "You won." And I just remember being like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." It was just so giddy. So it was a great feeling.
The whole Legal Aid Society, everybody, I'm so grateful for the help that they gave me. They actually became like family members to me.
We were extremely fortunate because Legal Aid, its greatest strength is the teamwork. What makes the Wrongful Conviction Unit unique is that it's a public defender organization that has a piece after our clients have lost every step of the way and they feel that there's no hope. We don't give up. We keep looking into them.
No matter who the client is, no matter how long it takes us, Legal Aid Society shows up in the places that matter, when it matters.